What would you do if you left your home only to return to find a stranger had moved in, changed the locks, and wouldn't leave? It's called squatting, and during tough economic times, it happens in nearly every neighborhood.
Consumer specialist Rick Romero met up with a homeowner who says a squatter lived in his home for 3 years, and it took a lawsuit, money, and time to get him out.
In 2007, Jeff Cote bought a condo in the Little Tokyo Lofts in downtown Los Angeles. Then 2 years later, Cote lost his job and could no longer make the payments on his loft. Thinking it would go into foreclosure, he packed up and moved out.
I left my loft locked and empty.
But a few months ago, Cote found out his loft, which did not go into foreclosure, was not empty. A stranger was living in his home and had been for 3 years.
Memorial Day weekend, I found out a squatter was living in my loft.
Cote says the alleged squatter was Jonathan Glover, who Cote says changed the locks, painted a wall, and wouldn't leave. In court records obtained by Eyewitness News, Glover was evicted from his last 2 residences. In fact, one of those residences is the loft right next door to Cote's.
He was evicted from 311 and he moved right into my loft, which is 312.
When Cote found out about Glover, he asked him to leave. Glover said he would, and even signed an agreement to move out in August. Cote thought the matter was closed and listed his loft as a short sale. That was several months ago.
Since then, the squatter has refused to leave.
I went to the Tokyo Lofts to interview Jonathan Glover, and when I rang the buzzer outside the building, I got this recording.
The subscriber you have dialed is not in service.
So I called Glover on his cell phone.
Hi, Jonathan Glover.
When Glover answered, he admitted he still lived in the loft. He would not go on camera and had only this to say on the record about Cote. He bought a bunch of properties he couldn't afford, and I've been made to be the villain. And he's basically blaming me, so I'm going to remove myself from this situation. Glover also denied he was a squatter because he claimed he made monthly rent payments of $2,150 to another landlord. When I asked Glover for some proof of the payments, he said he always paid with cash or a money order, no checks. He also said the rent was last paid in June. Eyewitness News was able to obtain a copy of Glover's rental agreement. The agreement states the payments are to be made to a Thomas Marks with Countrywide Property Management in Citrus Heights near Sacramento. But when Eyewitness News tried to contact Marks, his cell phone number didn't work, and his email came back unanswered. Jeff Cote filed a police report claiming Glover is a trespasser, but was told there was no evidence a crime had been committed, so there was nothing law enforcement could do. Dennis Block, an attorney who specializes in evictions, says by law the rightful owner cannot remove a squatter by force. In most cases, the homeowner has to file a civil action in court, prove it's their property, and then evict the squatter. And all that takes time, which can be months, even more than a year.
I think they're tantamount to being thieves. It's as simple as that. Somehow the law doesn't look at them like that. They deem this to be a civil dispute and make a landlord file a civil lawsuit, but it's clean and simple. They're stealing.
The squatter claims he's going to be out about mid-month. He told me that via text, although he has told me a lot of lies.
And over this past weekend, an Eyewitness News producer finally spotted Glover outside the loft and asked who he was.
Are you Jonathan?
No. Later, he did fess up to being Glover, and Eyewitness News followed him into the loft. He said he was in the process of moving out after 3 years of living there.
This is not fair. I can't believe that you're doing this. Don't destroy my life.
Especially with the downturn of the economy, vacant homes and condos, people are looking for them, and they'll just break in and establish residency.
Now, if you have a vacation home or a second home, or you're thinking about taking a lengthy vacation, here are some suggestions to preventing squatting. Make sure the property is securely locked. Give the appearance of a resident. One way to do this is to put lights on using a timer switch. If a property is going to be vacant for a period of time, let your neighbors know. Put up no trespassing signs. Visit the property regularly and look for broken windows or forced locks. If so, contact the police. After filing a lawsuit and with the help of a locksmith, it was only yesterday that Cote finally got his loft back. Empty but dirty.
This is a huge, huge step, and it feels fantastic. Like, this loft is empty. It feels open, and I feel like a weight has been lifted.
This is Rick Romero, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Finally resolved
Wow.
after all this time. What a nightmare for
What
homeowners.
an education for us about
Yeah,
squatters.
sure is.